right, welcome back. We're talking with Superintendent of Terrebonne Parish, Philip Martin, about the education tax, and there you see him on the screen. He's been gracious enough to come and answer all your questions. And there's a lot of questions that pertain to this particular tax or millage or whatever, so we'll jump right into it. And then later, if you have a question, 879-1231. But let's start off, Philip, if we can, by, let's just educate people. How much millage are you looking for? And let's get into a little bit about where the millage is going to go.
We currently collect in Terrebonne Parish 9.27 mills. And Martin, I want to point something out here. I think may help put things in perspective. Every Wednesday and Saturday, my garbage is picked up. That's a really nice service. I appreciate it. I roll my can out on Tuesday evenings, and Wednesday I get home from work, I roll it back and do the same thing on Saturday. My garbage is collected twice a week. Takes maybe 5 minutes each time. Terrebonne homeowners pay almost 12 mills to have their garbage collected. We're paying 9. We also pick up something twice a day, 19,000 students, 5 days a week, and keep them all day for less than our garbage collection. I'm glad the garbage collection, it's a wonderful service and worth every penny. But if we're willing to pay that for garbage, what are we willing to pay for our children? So I just want to put that in perspective so voters and the public understands. When we say 9 mills, put that in relationship. The state average for public education, as I stated earlier, is 40. We're asking to go to the state average. We're not asking to go to the head of the line. We're asking, can we be average in terms of financial support? I've had people say, hey, don't say we're going to be average. No, we're not going to be average. We're going to be average in terms of financial support. The school district is already better than average. This is on the path to being the premier school district in Louisiana. Okay. So putting that, we're asking to go from 9 to 40. It's an increase of 31 mills. Okay. That's been broken down into 2 parts. 11 mills for capital improvements. That's buildings, bricks and mortar issues. 20 mills for instructional programs and salary and benefits for employees. On the instructional programs, things we want to do, we want to offer universal pre-K to every child in Terrebonne Parish. Currently, we can't do that. We have a waiting list. This past year, we had a waiting list of over 100 kids, and I suspect it would have been more than that. Other people didn't bother to apply because they knew they couldn't get in anyway. Universal pre-K, every child, regardless of status of the family, income, or condition of the child, universal pre-K. Pre-K, by the way, we have an award-winning pre-K program. Our teachers are doing miracles in that program. But that would be one program for an instructional program we would implement. We have some instructional programs we want to begin implementation. Louisiana is one of the states that's going to Common Core state standards, the national curriculum, i.e. what the kids will be being taught in Terrebonne Parish is going to be the same as Connecticut and California and Washington. It's the same curriculum. Okay. It's a very rigorous curriculum, one that I support, by the way, because we're going to show how well we can do. Okay.
You want to compare apples to apples.
That is an apple-to-apple comparison. Right now, the Louisiana test, it's hard to compare it to anybody else because it's the Louisiana test. It's not given anyplace else. But as we move to that new curriculum, and it's going to be rigorous, we want to have in place safeguards where no kid is failed. No kid is allowed to fail. The 4th grade child who fails a test in math that's based on the Common Core state standards would immediately, the next day, go to what we're going to call a success room during non-core time, PE, art, music, where whatever that kid did not get on that test is retaught, relearned, and the kids retested. Those are things that we can do for children, to give you a glimpse. Now, the program is much more involved than that, but those are things, now, those things cost money. Right. You know, to pay a teacher, and we want to hire those gifted and talented teachers to work with kids who may be having some difficulty, or maybe a kid who doesn't have difficulty, but on that one test, he or she did. That program is one that we want to be able to begin. Low teacher, pupil-teacher ratio. We've been creeping up the last several years because we have no choice. And we all know that the effectiveness of the teacher is greatly impacted when she can focus more individual time on individual students. And the difference between having 25 in a class and, say, 18 in a class is enormous in terms of the impact on children.
I hear that a lot, and of course, when I remember being back in school, I was a number, but that 7 makes a big difference. If you ask any teacher, 25 to 18 is a big difference on the teacher. Why is that so?
Well, it allows the teacher to provide more one-on-one time with students, and obviously the more kids you have, the less opportunity for that
Just
to
can't
happen.
get to all of them.
You just can't get to all of them, and you can't spend as much time with any individual child. Low PT ratios has been proven everywhere that it has an impact. It's not the only answer. First, as I stated earlier, it begins with an effective teacher.
Yeah, you gotta have a good teacher, yeah.
You got to have a good teacher. And I hate to use the word good because it implies you got somebody that's bad. Effective and not as effective.
Right.
An effective teacher can be much more effective with a smaller group of kids than a larger group of kids. That's, even the people who are not teachers can relate to that, but teachers will tell you that universally. Now, you know, when you reach a point, there's not a lot of difference between 18 and 16.
Yeah.
You know, that you don't have the same fall off as you have when you're going from the upper 20s down to say 20. And the age of the child, all of those things come into play. Younger children, you need small PT ratios. Not that you don't need to maintain that, but it needs to be particularly focused in the lower grades, where teachers who can home in and assist kids who may be struggling or may not have got it the first time. And we want to instill programs that address those kids. We want to be able to address keeping low PT ratios. And a part of this instructional program component of the millage would also be for salaries and benefits.
I was about to say one of the best motivating tools for a teacher is for them to be appreciated and get a pay increase. But you had a meeting recently where you laid out a plan, and I was interested to hear, we talked before the show. Your plan entails, and I'm going to let you say it in your words, but it's an across-the-board plan, and it even goes into the central office. And a lot of people will ask me the question, but I'm going to let you say where the raises go and explain to the people where they do go.
Yeah. The raises are very simple. It's every teacher category employee, and that would be a principal, that would be a curriculum supervisor. Every teacher category employee is $4,000. Okay. Now, that would mean a first-year teacher and a principal. It's $4,000.
So you're really trying to raise the base.
Absolutely, and that's what we follow.
Base plan.
Yes, because our average is where we're 45th. Right. Our average teacher pay. So you know, I'm trying to do something, and the district is trying to do something that will ensure. We've heard the term global economy. We truly are in a global economy and a global market. I don't know right now that we would be able to adequately compete regionally, much less globally. We will be able to attract students from Lafayette, Lake Charles, Baton Rouge, Bossier, Alexandria. I don't think we can compete with Thibodeau right now. As I mentioned to you before we went on the air, historically we used to be one of the highest paying districts. We're still reaping the benefits of that because we were able to attract some marvelously talented educators. Many of them are still with us. Most of them are very close to retiring, and many of them have retired. I asked one very recently, how is it you came from Avoyelles Parish to Terrebonne Parish? The answer was a very simple one in 2 words: paid more. Mm-hmm. And our children received the benefits of these marvelously talented educators for 35, 40 years or longer. And we're still reaping those benefits. Mm-hmm. Your talent pool of teachers, we had 80-something teachers retire last year. As you replace those teachers, and it's a constant evolving process, it never stays the same. As you replace those teachers, you are moving in one of 2 directions. You're getting better or you're getting worse. I want to be sure that we're getting better. We're able to hire the best and brightest that we'll be able to pick, that we have a pool of people applying, that we just can't take the one that nobody else wanted. And that's perhaps a cold statement to make, but it's a factual statement.
You mentioned teachers and really the personnel that teach the kids. Central office would get the same?
Everybody, 4,000.
What about cafeteria workers?
The support people, which would be clerical, cafeteria workers, 2,000 for everybody else.
Okay.
By the way, I do want to be clear. School board members get not a dime. Superintendent gets not a dime.
Okay.
This,
Hey, your vote for your salary would come through the school board, and you passed it up last time. But in fairness, if you would get this millage, and you would have that more of a responsibility, they should probably look at bringing you up to the standard also. So
well, that's a topic for another day.
Timing was bad last time, but it might be something that everybody would agree would be on the table this time.
Well, Martin, what I want to focus on is what the impact this will have on Terrebonne Parish. It is certainly the most significant event in my career as an educator of 38 years.
This would be your legacy, wouldn't it?
I would hope it would be. Yes, it would. But as you picked up earlier, it's not about Philip Martin. It's not about the school board. It's about 19,000 kids that I don't want them attending the worst, least funded, we're not the worst school system, so I do not want to say that, but the least funded school system in the state of Louisiana. Eventually, if you stay in that category long enough, really bad things start to happen to your entire school system. We have a very good school system now. I do not want to, we're not on the edge of academic collapse or we're not in a catastrophic mode. We are in a crisis mode for finances. We are.
I want to talk about the physical movements of certain areas because we had a good discussion before the program. And let me just let the viewers know we're going to take a break. But when we come back, I want you to really listen to this because he made a good point. He said in the meeting before the show, he doesn't want to take and I'm going to let you say, a school out of, a community out of the school area, or I might have said it backwards, or I think we said it backwards.
I said it backwards you the first time. You repeated it that way.
So anyway, when we come back, this is going to be interesting because where are the changes going to be to the schools that are up now? And certainly going to find out when he talks that a lot of our schools in this area are 60, 70 years old. And I think H.L. Bourgeois, which may be one of the more newer schools, is 40 some odd years old. So we'll come back from that and we'll talk about the physical plants and the physical structures, what would happen to them, and the consolidation of schools in the area. It's something that you really need to listen to. We'll be right back.